สวัสดีครับท่านผู้ชมทางบ้านนะครับอันนี้อีกครั้งหนึ่งที่ KPMG มา Facebook Live นะครับวันนี้ครั้งที่4แล้วนะครับเกี่ยวข้องกับเรื่องของโควิด -19 นะครับวันนี้เราก็เหมือนเดิมนะครับเป็นการร่วมมือกันระหว่างทางสมาคมจดทะเบียนบริษัทจดทะเบียนแห่งประเทศไทยนะครับแล้วก็แพลตฟอร์มห่วงใยไทย Business นะครับที่ร่วมออก Facebook Live ในวันนี้ KPMG เรามาทุกวันบ่ายวันศุกร์นะฮะบ่าย2:30นะครับวันนี้หัวข้อที่เราจะพูดคุยกันนะครับต่อเนื่องจาก3 สัปดาห์ที่ผ่านมาครั้งแรกเราพูดถึงเรื่องของ business continuity เรื่องของbusiness plan นะครับแล้วก็สัปดาห์ถัดมาเรามีการพูดคุยถึงเรื่องของ CFO in action นะครับและสัปดาห์ที่แล้วเราพูดถึงเรื่องภาษีกันนะภาษีและกฎหมายนะครับวันนี้เรามาต่อเนื่องนะครับจากภาพเมื่อ2 สัปดาห์3 สัปดาห์ที่ผ่านมาเป็นการพูดคุยต่อนะครับว่าจากที่เรากำลังจะเห็น situation ในปัจจุบันที่หมายถึงว่าเหตุการณ์ในปัจจุบันนะฮะที่เหตุการณ์มันค่อนข้างคลี่คลายขึ้นในบ้านเราสิ่งที่ผู้บริหารหรือเจ้าของกิจการนั้นจะต้องเตรียมตัวอย่างไรนะครับเราก็จะมาพูดคุยกันในวันนี้นะครับผมเองก่อนอื่นก็ขออนุญาตแนะนำตัวเองเมื่อกี้ลืมอนุญาตนะครับก็คือผมชื่อสุกิตนะครับเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์เป็นเฮดของที่ KPMG Thailand นะครับแล้วเดี๋ยวขออนุญาตวันนี้ละกันว่าเรามีวิทยากร2 ท่านเป็น expert นะครับขออนุญาตเริ่มจากคุณแมทนะครับเชิญฮะ introduce yourself
สวัสดีครับ My name's Matt. I'm a director here at KPMG. My specialty is in restructuring and cash flow advisory.
สวัสดีครับผมชื่อสตีฟนะครับเป็นอิรันด้วยผมเป็น director of deal advisory focusing on deal strategy. I'm also the head of China practice.
Okay ครับ so today we're gonna speak in English and then backward a bit เดี๋ยวผมวันนี้จะดำเนินรายการเป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะครับแต่ว่ายังไงเดี๋ยวทางเราที่ KPMG เราจะมีขึ้นเพจรีลันให้นะครับแล้วพอเพจรีลันเสร็จเนี่ยเราก็จะมีเติมซับไตเติลภาษาไทยให้แล้วก็ท่านผู้ชมทางบ้านก็สามารถดูทั้งในภาคเสียงภาษาอังกฤษนะครับแล้วก็ตัวซับไตเติลภาษาไทยนะครับ so we're gonna start today in English okay and it's a good Friday though
Thank you.
so maybe we can start from the first page which is something that I always keep follow up and see what is the development of the COVID-19 and this first page that we can see here is kind of like capture the situation and then you can see on the left hand of the screen which is talking about the number of infections case that happening around the world and back to 1st of March 2020 and you can see that the total number of cases is around 87,000 you can see that and now you can see the number become like 2.1 million that is staggering number and look at China seem to be the first hit by the COVID-19 and you can see that they start from last month 79,000 and now they have around 83,000 which is not it's increased but not that much you know look at certain country like you know Italy at that time it's like 1,000 only and now it's like 168,000 which quite number is significant increase Japan is quite surprised people thought that it's quite controllable during the first phase but it seemed that this couple weeks you can see from April 3rd until now it's only like 2 weeks and then the number you know kind of spike up from 2,600 cases to 9,200 so that is quite a remarkable number and then the most interesting part will be US country where you can see that the in March they have the cases around 70 cases only but now you can see the number shooting up to 671,000 that is the remarkable number in Thailand I think last month everyone in the same kind of week that we are sitting now we kind of nervous a little bit see that the number growing a lot but for the last 1 or 2 weeks we see that the number keep everyone quite feel confident more that we are the number growing and the curve is kind of flat you know so that is the development of the cases we can see and we have pick up some news in the market you can see that they have even mentioned that when this COVID-19 gonna last you know you can see people said like Harvard University came out just a couple days ago and said that this might last until next year and then we probably go back to normal by 2022. This is from the news. Everywhere talk about that. So it's quite something interesting that we're going to be around with COVID-19 from here until next year and then until 2022. Well, look at the right-hand side of the table. You can see this is the real GDP. Last time, 2 weeks ago, we talked what the World Bank mentioned about the economy. But after 2 weeks, IMF came out with the publication just a couple of days ago. They put, a number of, country that they, let's say like in Asia, you can see that Thailand, they expect that we're going to have the highest number in terms of negative GDP. You can see from here. And then hope that, no matter it's going to be negative. And then you can see the right-hand column in 2021, most country will, back to, hopefully it will be like a V shape of the economy where it's drop and then pick it up later in the following year. Quite interesting that Vietnam, very interesting. They have a high confidence that even though they dropped, but it's not going to down to a negative zone. So that is the most development in terms of cases and then in terms of the economy. So cross finger, people said that we're going to have like negative of 6.7, which is from business point of view, not a good news at all. But maybe this is a good start for us today, okay? And then we can discuss further. Matt, from previous page, you see the trend in terms of what is going on and then in terms of the GDP. From the management point of view, especially the audience, which is represent mainly in Thailand, how would you, what would be your view in terms of how they're gonna start from here and then move forward? What is your view?
Yeah, thanks, Mr.Sukit. So as you've seen, the pace at which COVID-19 has impacted us in the economy and as businesses has been staggering and very rapid. So in terms of what things management should be thinking about, we've outlined a few areas for them to consider. The first is around value protection. Mm-hmm. And I think what we're seeing is that for the last 1 or 2 months, most businesses have been in this situation. They're preserving cash, they're putting in short-term measures to maybe reduce costs, in some cases making very drastic decisions about workforce. But there's been a need for that, and many companies have had to stabilize and preserve cash flow. But I think what we're now seeing, and we're asking our businesses, our clients to think about, is looking forward and maybe taking the opportunity now to make sure that your business can be resilient and agile for maybe a future world, a post-COVID-19 world.
Okay. So Steve, when you see, maybe you can share from the view of maybe a little bit from the client and from what you experience with clients, and also from the aspect of the China, because you are knowing them quite well, that in terms of what is going on around here and then seeing the trend, what is this? What do you see right now?
Yeah, thanks. So as a Chinese, so probably I get most direct interaction with COVID from the very beginning, since the outbreak of the COVID. It just came across, Chinese New Year. So probably gonna stuck in Thailand and cannot go back. And then at that time, everybody in China have to work from home. Mm-hmm. And all the cities are considerably locked down. Yeah. So some of my clients actually starting from basically for the COVID, like automotive client, that basically install a very rigid mechanism in terms of the cash control. For example, the CFO and CEO and also the business people, they meet every day to look at the daily cash flow in and out for the business. And also, but now China is basically ahead of a lot of countries, because now the situation, as Mr.Sukit mentioned, the cases in China has been basically better off, and the curve has been flattened. So a lot of business are currently kind of recovered For sure, a lot of business because they cannot survive because of the lack of liquidity and also because of the income issue and also cash flow issue, they cannot survive. But a lot of business, they wither through the storm. And now they are more considering in terms of from a strategic perspective, what are the opportunities they should looking for to grow their top line, to grow their business portfolio. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Maybe before we move to the value creation, I'd like to maybe touch a little bit more because different company probably have a different pace of journey. I think right now, what we are sitting here, and I believe many companies still on the journey of value protection part.
Yeah.
I like to touch on, let's say, on the supplier side. You know, a lot of people, it's quite common everyone to say that, hey, we have to negotiate with your supplier. But it seems that everyone has to go with your supplier and ask for the certain help, you know. In this situation, come down together like this, what is your advice to, you know, the audience at home that when you deal with the supplier side?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Sukit. And as you said, every business is dealing with this right now. Whether you're on the supplier side or the customer side, there's a lot of difficult conversations being had. I think our advice to the audience at home would be, first of all, make sure you understand your cash flow situation and run some stress tests on those cash flows. And that's really important when it becomes to negotiating with your suppliers. Because when you go to your supplier and you might ask for a payment deferral, they're going to want to know, why do you need that? How is it going to help you? And what does it mean in the long term?
Okay.
So engaging with your suppliers with transparent information, letting them know what you need them to help you with and why is really important. I think everyone needs to come together in this difficult time and help each other out.
Okay. Steve, you have any?
Yeah, because as you may be aware that in maybe I'm Chinese because and so I actually very pay attention to in terms of we call 关系. So this is basically a business relationship, right? So and also we look forward to long-term business partnership and relationship, and this is something which is highly valued. Also in Thailand and most of the Asian countries. So in this regard, actually, when you talk to the suppliers, I would say that you need to take a little bit like a strategic point of view in terms of your long-term collaboration with your supplier as a part of your business as well. Yeah.
Okay. So that was on the supplier side. And on the, you know, the value chain you are talking will be on the your customer side as well. Same thing, you have so many customers came down and asked you for the help. Some people said, hey, I'm not going to help. I cannot really help everyone at the same time. How do you classify or how do you play with the situation that you have so many requests for the help and then you need to help them? You like to help everyone, but at the same time you have a limit, of limitation on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, everyone wants to help everybody, but we can't all do that. So when it comes to the customers, what I would recommend or advise to the audience is to really critically assess your own business and the customers and the criticality of those customers to you. And I would go one step further than that. What I would say is you need to look back at the historical relationship that you've had with that customer. So maybe 1 year back, maybe even 2 years back, maybe it goes beyond that. How has that relationship, that partnership been built up? And what does that look like from a financial perspective? So have they been good to you in terms of volumes, in terms of sales? Have you been giving them discounts in the past? Have they been paying you on time is a really important one. That then allows you to have an informed and robust conversation with your customers and allows you to identify the ones that you really need to help and you want to help. And then the other thing I would say is, as and when those customers are asking for your help, you need to understand the financial impact of that help you're giving. As you said, Sukit, if you promise to help everyone and then maybe you haven't understood the impact on your business, that could leave you in trouble as well. So it comes back to transparency and being open and honest with your customers about the fact that you want to help, but you maybe have some limitations about how much you can help them.
Okay, cool. Steve, you see a lot of example in this situation. Can you share this kind of like negotiation with customer?
Yes.
How would you suggest?
Actually, one of the principle I want to share, because this is also from one of my client CEO, is that please remember, customer is always number one in your business. So all what you do for your business is you need to be customer centric. So under the current situation, if you want to discuss with your customer in terms of anyhow giving some discount, or they come to you to asking for some discount or delay the payment or something, sometimes just trying to switch your view a little bit, just to put yourself in the scenario, to put your feet in the shoes of the customer, try to think the other way. So if you were the customer, and how would you think? How would you manage your business? That is enabled so the business can be achieved like a win-win situation.
Okay. Maybe I can also add from what I saw some of my clients do is if you have certain clients that seem to have a lot of the stockpile that they have a lot, and then we have another customer that needs certain products. Instead of you ask them to pay you, but we can say that, hey, you can shift that, from one customer to another one, because in this situation, you need to help everyone, so that would be one of the options that we can play.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And from the protection piece, if we move to the direction to the value creation, but once I see the word value creation, I need, Matt, you need to help me to understand when you're talking about in this part, what maybe a quick example, or what is the value creation here?
Sure. So when we talk about value creation, what we're talking about are initiatives that you can identify in your business to improve performance or cash flow or profits. So anything you can do to increase the value in your business, that's what we mean about value creation. Mainly from a financial perspective, but I think we all have to recognize the non-financial element here as well. Your people, your social responsibility, they're equally important to value creation.
That would be, one part will be financial performance related, and the other side, it will be non-financial side. Okay, that's good. Steve, value creation from the strategic point of view, where you give a lot of advice to your clients, and in this piece of the journey, what is your view?
Yeah, I think value creation is something that is a midterm strategy that you can actually turn around your business and improve your performance. But on a strategy perspective, we will really need to think about in terms of what my business direction it will be. What throughout this difficult situation, what could be the new market? What could be the new product I can launch to the market? And also, how can I understand my customer to better portray the customer behavior? And also in terms of, from a supply chain perspective, what are basically the movement of supply chain that we can shape? Just give you guys a very good example, actually. I'm talking again about China, because I'm Chinese. And as everybody know that, actually the COVID-19 begins from Wuhan. Wuhan is very famous for its automotive business, and it is called Detroit of basically China. So it basically supply 1/6 of the world automotive supplies. Basically, there are so many international automotive parts supplier in Wuhan. So once the outbreak comes, so basically all the factory worker need to go back working from home, and they basically cannot work from home because it's a factory. So that actually triggers in terms of significant problems in terms of the global automotive supply chain. So they cannot get the stock from China. So, and then a lot of automotive clients are currently re-evaluating in terms of how can I not put all the eggs into one basket, but also to spread the risk of the supply chain. So they are thinking about in terms of globalization, how can I shift my production plant from China to other countries like Southeast Asia, for example, like Thailand, and also, for example, like back to US or back to Europe. That actually also gives a lot of chances actually for actually the Thai business to grow and to seize the opportunity to establish some of the partnership as well.
Okay. Matt, when we're talking about, maybe I can start with the financial part, when we're talking about value creation. Maybe you can share with us in this situation where we try to protect our company, try to survive in this time. And then once we move to the value creation part, from the financial perspective, which area that maybe I can start from the client side, customer side. Can you give some, what would be the activities that we need to perform and then create a value?
Sure. So, as you said, I think a lot of companies are still in that protection zone, and that's really important that they do that. But if we start to look forward to how they can create value, and on the customer side, as you said, I think one of the first things I would look at is your product portfolio. So many clients I've worked with over the years, if you do an analysis of their whole product portfolio, they may have 1,000, 2,000 products, different colors, different sizes. If you undertake some analysis on that, I'm sure you will find some products or maybe even some customers that are low margin or maybe even loss-making. When we talk about value creation, now's the time to look at some of those products, maybe some of those customer relationships, and really challenge yourself and say, is that something I want to do continuing going forward? Because if it's not, those are things that you can eliminate, maybe reduce your product size as a portfolio, and then you're able to save cost and increase your agility. So that would be one example that I would recommend people start with.
And then that was, Steve, anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'm more thinking as a strategist, trying to think about in terms of from the business strategy wise, what kind of product you're gonna put into the market, even if it's a new product, because now as a result of COVID, I think there are a lot of changes in the consumer behavior. For example, previously, I think maybe the sales of the hand sanitizer or something, it's much inferior to, much lower than that of shampoo or other similar products. But now the sale of the hand sanitizer actually surpass a lot in terms of the volume. So, and also because people stay at home, the consumer behavior is more switching from offline to online. So that is also if you channel more products on online channel, so probably you're gonna grasp a bigger market share, get more attention. And also in China, just give you an example, product related to health and also personal care, and also these kind of maybe some sportswear, so apparel. So these kind of things are actually have a very good sales volume. So when you determine, because in terms of the COVID situation, actually the customer behavior are actually changing as well. So that is related to your strategy in terms of how you reshape the portrait of your customer in order to launch a better product or push more product to the right channel. Yeah.
Matt, you can add, because people talk a lot to sell something related to COVID, and what will gonna happen after 6 months or something?
So yeah, after the COVID, so I think that's a really good question, and for me it comes back a little bit to agility. So with COVID-19, there's been a lot of crisis, a lot of uncertainty, but as Steve mentioned, there's been some opportunity for people to explore new product ranges, right? So when we talk about value creation and resilience and finding improvements in your own business, this will allow you to take advantage of future opportunities. So as you said, who knows how long this is going to last? And that's why we're saying let's manage what you can now, so that in 6 months, 12 months, you can be there to benefit from some of these future opportunities. And yeah, we see value creation opportunities typically taking between 6 and 12 months to really implement and realize.
And now we are talking on the side of the customer side. From the value creation on the supply side, how are we going to create the value from?
Yeah, so there's a few areas on the supply side, and the first I'll talk about, we've mentioned already, which is around the negotiation with suppliers. So everybody will be doing that right now, calling their suppliers saying, please can I delay payments? But actually we also suggest taking that one step further and really evaluating each of those supplier relationships. So a couple of things. One, as Steve mentioned, You may need to reevaluate your supply chain and the location of where you're getting your materials from. But secondly, when it comes to pricing and payment terms, now's the time to have very transparent and robust conversations because everyone's having those conversations right now. So this is your chance. If you don't do it now or you do it in a tactical manner, which just says, can I not pay you for 2 months? In 6 months' time, you'll be back to where you were today and you'll have lost your opportunity because everyone will be having these conversations. So if you're not, you may well lose out in 6 months' time.
Oh, okay, I see. And Steve, anything to add on the supply side?
Yeah, just add on a little bit in terms of maybe your product transformation, because I think for the new product you're going to launch to the market according to the COVID situation. So this is also something.
And then we're talking on the value creation. And now we're talking about value realization. What is that, the terminology? What does that mean? And when and how are we going to realize that, normally in your view?
So I think value realization, we're probably talking 1 to 2 years from now. And I'll let Steve in a minute talk about the strategy side, but if I think about, again, the agility and the resilience we're trying to build in businesses through value creation, that will allow you to then realize that value in 1 to 2 years. So you're preparing yourself now so that in 1 or 2 years' time, you're in the position to grow, to take advantage of new markets, and be at the forefront of your industries.
When we say realization of value, is that going to be like tangible value or intangible value? What we going to get from all the initiative that we have here?
So these will be tangible value. So let's talk about the financial aspect, which I guess is, to be honest, where I tend to focus. And that means cash flow in your pocket. So those should be tangible values that through value creation you'll start to see now. And then in value realization, that's a longer term play, but your business will be of greater value, you'll have greater market reach. That's what we expect.
Yeah, on a strategy perspective, I also think that this is a very good point. On a strategy perspective, more thinking about in terms of maybe from the shareholders' perspective, in terms of a greater shareholders' return or the market capitalization that you can achieve through this process, through either carve out some of the non-core asset that you currently have, or alternatively, you can seek for opportunities to acquire some of the attractive business that you always wanted for. But now, because of the current situation, probably the price are relatively low. So this is all the M&A opportunities actually you can grasp during this time. Yeah.
So value realization, I can put in maybe my own terminology. It will be more profitability, will be create more top line, which is from the financial point of view. And then from the non-financial, probably like a market share, or probably like could be the value perceived by the shareholder or stakeholder surrounding our company. Is that going to be a good way of, thinking of the value realization?
Yeah, I think that's right, Sukit. There's definitely going to be tangible financial benefits, but I think we think it will be beyond that as well. There'll be intangible benefits, maybe such as brand, customers, sentiment of your company, and again, this comes back to the terminology of a new world, right? What are customers going to be thinking? What do consumers, what are they going to want in 1-2 years' time? And I think we're saying in terms of value realization, if you get things right now and you start thinking about that, those are the benefits that you can have in the future.
Because I see a lot of companies now, not just only talking about on the business side, right? That we're talking about like helping your customer or working together with the supplier. But I also see a lot of contribution going on. You can see a big company right now came out, like in Thailand, you can see many examples, go out and make a contribution, give away like masks or help hospital. And that could be maybe a good branding. And can that be part of the value creation as well?
Yeah, I think, You know, again, we've touched on it a few times. Even in the value protection, right? There's many companies now struggling for liquidity, struggling for cash, but we're also seeing many companies trying to help each other, still trying to donate to the healthcare services, and I think that's a really important point. And that will continue through protection, creation, and realization. And it's about identifying your stakeholders and trying to look after each other in these difficult times.
Okay. Anything to
Yeah,
add?
I think
Steve?
it's quite also important during this period of difficult time. So try to be a good social citizen and being responsible to the society and contribute to society. And this is more for the long-term perspective in terms of a value enhancement, because your customers gonna buy in your brand value, and your brand value is also built up with your contribution to the society as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we spent quite a good amount of time to discuss about the value protection, creation, and realization. I think the audience at home would now more understand.
I hope
This
so.
is what we hope so that they understand. This is the key message and key takeaway that we try to deliver from these slides. And then I think I'd like to maybe move to the next slide, talking maybe from we plan like protection, like plan prepare for the worst, and then we plan for the best. Steve, I think I'd like you to kind of walk me through on this page.
I really like this sentence: prepare for the worst and plan for the best. Actually, this is a mindset that everybody will need to have as a business owner or CEO, always being ready for cope with the next challenges, and also strategize what's going to happen for the next phase. So actually, in terms of the strategy, I think a strategy is a too big word to say, but really as a business owner or CEO, actually now a lot of business owner and CEO in China, because China is post-COVID-19 situation, they're actually thinking about in terms of reflecting back for the COVID situation, actually what my midterm strategy and long-term strategy gonna look like. Is there anything different from before, right? So somehow they're gonna make some adjustment for that. For example, through the COVID situation, actually a lot of products are sold online, and also a lot of transactions are done online, payment are done online, and also some insurance product, even insurance product, and also the financial product or banking are conducted online. So this is actually give some flavor to the business owner and also the CEO level in terms of the question mark. Can I be more digitized in terms of my business? Can I push more of my products and more of my customer through the online channel? Can I establish more rigid digital platform in order to reach out to more untapped market? So this is one of the, a lot of company currently in China. They are very good at digitalization as China is basically a cashless society. But also this means a lot also for the Thai business as well, that whether how maturity I am to put everything online, digitized, this is also one angle. And also on the product perspective, I would like to give also you an example is that maybe, before COVID, when people mention about alcohol, so they will say, oh, I'm thinking about King Lao. So sorry about my Thai. But nowadays, if you talk about alcohol, this is something more to do with how can I sanitize my room? How can I, this is the ingredient of basically the hand sanitizer or whatever. So then actually your business direction and also your product strategy also shift a little bit. That also, everybody know that the raw materials are called ethanol, who is previously always used as a fuel, used for the car. But now ethanol is basically used for hand sanitizer. So there's ethanol hand sanitizer. So the business direction actually changes a lot because of the COVID. So all the business owner and a CEO need to get prepared for reassess your business strategy. But that actually will require quite a lot of understanding of the current industry trend and also your agility of your business as well. Yeah.
Okay, Matt, anything you want to add?
Yeah, just to add to that, Steve, I think it's a really good example of the agility and the resilience we've been talking about. So the companies that have been agile and resilient are maybe able to divert to producing alcohol products and disinfections and masks and all these sort of things. And I think what we're saying here is that, okay, right now it's alcohol and masks, but in 6 months' time, in 12 months' time, who knows what it's going to be, right? It could be another black swan event or something completely different. So if you can be agile and resilient today, then that means you're going to be in a better position in the future to make those strategic decisions such as that.
So you suggest that the company would thinking on to invest on the resilient part to make sure they prepare for the future as well. I can share quickly, even in California, they mentioned that now you have the black swan on the virus, right? They're now even thinking of what's going to happen for the next 12 months. Would I going to have like earthquake coming in? They even think about that too. So it's quite interesting now that people feel more sensitive on the disaster that's coming in. So maybe it's something the audience at home would think about it too.
Yeah.
The worst may not over yet, you know. So maybe Steve, you're talking about reassessment on the strategy, and how about the understand industry impact, and how you going to relate that back to the strategy that we are talking?
Yeah, actually, this is something that it's very important for the strategy, because if you don't understand the market, if you don't understand the industry trend, basically you can't set up your strategy for that. So basically, like what I just said, that okay, in terms of from the COVID situation, actually there's a lot of norm changes in terms of for the market perspective. Some industry might need to be reset. For example, like a hotel business, restaurant business, even like retail business, they need to reset. And some of the business, they might grow a lot. For example, like food delivery, like e-commerce. For this kind of business, it's actually grow a lot. So as a business owner or CEO, you really need to you need to consider in terms of what's the industry trend, what's the new norm of your business. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Maybe we move to the next bullet, talking about the carve out. People talking a lot, you know, because COVID-19 somehow kind of reveal the true color of the situation, and plus maybe it's highlighting the certain weakness in certain company, or maybe highlight certain opportunity as well. Yeah. You know, we don't know yet, but in this slide that you mentioned here, when we said carve out, what are you gonna give a piece of advice here, Steve?
Yeah, I think maybe carve out, it's a difficult word to mention. Yeah, but always people when perceive as a carve out, they always perceive a little bit negatively, because they always think about carve out as basically some non-performing business or underperforming business. They think about carve out. Yeah, but this is for sure one angle. The other angle is that actually some of the really good performing business, it also can achieve in terms of for the carve out. So the main purpose of the carve out is that basically you need to think about first your business strategy, which direction you want to go. And then you decided which kind of a business you can carve out. And in order to achieve the cash flow, to get the cash flow, you want to invest in the business you really want to focus on, or help your business to be digitalized. Just give you, I always like this case, actually, this example. It actually happens many years ago, but it's a classic case. So it happens when everybody knows IBM, right? So if you have, what's the brand? The ThinkPad, right?
ThinkPad.
Yeah, the ThinkPad.
Lenovo.
Sorry, I don't use IBM for a long time. It's quite commonly used before, and people perceive it as expensive. So, many years ago, that IBM basically they want to switch to their business into something related to high value added
Corporate.
and IT services. Focus on software, those kind of things. So they consider the laptop business and PC business as were dragged behind in terms of their business growth, and then tie up a lot of human resources, manufacturing facilities, and intellectual property, whatever, a lot of investment. So they think about this business strategy for quite a long time, Although there are a lot of noises around whether they really need to carve out this sort of PC business or not because of the supply chain impact. But finally, they made a decision to do that and sell it to Lenovo. Actually, this is a win-win situation because everybody knows that Lenovo is also a PC provider, but their product range is a bit low end. But after acquiring the business from IBM, basically, they become the number 2 in the world in terms of the PC provider next to HP. So that is to say that after the carve-out, the performance of the IBM basically soared. So they basically increased the market capitalization around, I don't remember the figure, but it's more than 100% for their market capitalization. So this is really something that they can do to increase the value and also to increase the shareholders' return as well. Yeah.
Maybe Matt, you can give an example like a retail. Just we talking just now.
Yeah, so I think that's a really good example of value realization, right? And then there's another recent example of a retailer, UK-based retailer. I think we all know the name.
It's not too hard to guess, right?
No, so I think it's all in the press anyway. But obviously, one of the large UK retailers recently sold their Thai and Malaysian assets. And interestingly, I think everyone knows that it was a very successful and high-performing, profitable part of the business. But as has been announced by the board in the UK, they've sold that because they want to invest that money into reimagining their UK business. They know that the retail landscape is going to change globally and particularly in the UK. So they made a decision to monetize one of their most successful businesses in order to invest. So that's a really good example of sort of longer-term strategic thinking and how a carve-out can be a positive thing for both parties.
Okay, that's good. Maybe the last one that we like to talk is about the opportunity. Maybe Steve, you kind of talk about this one.
Yes. Nowadays, I got called every day because a lot of Chinese clients are coming back. So they give me a lot of requests. So what the request is to basically for those clients for those companies that are balance sheet strong, cash resilient, these companies are really eager at this moment to looking for acquire for the target that has very strong intellectual property or very strategic asset, or some of the maybe brands that they can easily bring to China to expand the market. So this is actually I can see that in the forthcoming year, there could be a lot of requests in this regard. And actually, a lot of people say that now is the worst time, but for the deal perspective, maybe now it's the golden opportunity for people to look at in terms of what business I really want to acquire, what opportunities I really want to grasp, and what are the, from the strategy perspective, what kind of thing I really want to get rid of. Yeah.
Okay, anything to add, Matt, on this one?
Yeah, I think it's just a case of, I think we're seeing movement already, which is really positive. I think, whilst there are many businesses still in protection and preservation, I think as Steve's just illustrated from China, we are starting to see people thinking about that value realization, value creation, longer term strategy. Where are those opportunities? So it's great.
All right. So I think we spend quite a good amount of time to discuss, and then maybe I can ask, maybe I can wrap up in Thai a bit before we move to the Q&A session.
Yes,
sure.
Okay.
Sure.
อันนี้ก็เป็นหน้าที่เราพูดคุยนะครับ เมื่อกี้เราพูดถึงเรื่อง economy แต่ผมจะไม่ได้ลงรายละเอียดนะครับ แต่ว่าแค่สรุปสั้นๆแล้วกันว่า ตอนนี้ก็ยังเหมือนเดิมนะครับในช่วงอาทิตย์ที่แล้วจนถึงอาทิตย์นี้คนติดเชื้อทั่วโลกก็ยังถือว่าอยู่ในช่วงขาขึ้นอยู่แต่เขาเชื่อว่ามันน่าจะค่อยๆดีขึ้นเรื่อยๆนะครับแต่สำหรับประเทศในแง่บ้านเราเนี่ยประเทศไทยเนี่ยก็ดูแล้วตัวเลขก็จะดูดีขึ้นนะครับโดยเฉพาะในช่วงสัปดาห์หรือว่า1-2 สัปดาห์ที่ผ่านมาอันนึงก็คือ GDP เนาะเราพูดคุยกันตั้งแต่วันแรกๆที่เราพูดกันเราก็จะเห็นว่าตัวเลขก็จะติดลบแล้วก็ผ่านไปสัก 2-3 อาทิตย์ถัดมาติดลบมากกว่าเดิมอีกนะครับเพราะที่เวลามี forecast มาจากหลายๆสำนักไม่ค่อยนี่ให้เห็นว่ามีตัวเลขที่ติดลบน้อยลงแต่ก็ไม่เป็นไรมันอาจจะดูดีขึ้นก็ได้ถ้าเกิดสถานการณ์เปลี่ยนไปเรื่อยๆนะครับถัดมาเนี่ยก็จะเป็นหน้านี้นะครับจริงๆหลักใหญ่ใจความเนี่ยเขาต้องการจะพูดถึงว่าช่วงแรกเราสามารถหมายถึงว่าในช่วงโควิดเนี่ย ถ้าเราจะมองเป็นช่วง period เนี่ยเราจะแบ่งเป็นvalue protection ก็คือการปกป้องมูลค่าขององค์กรนะครับการทำ value creation แล้วก็ value realization ซึ่ง protection เนี่ยเป็นช่วงที่บริษัททุกบริษัทอยู่ในช่วงนี้อยู่นะครับก็คือให้บริษัทนั้นอยู่รอดสามารถดำเนินการหลังจากที่โควิดจบแล้วเนี่ยเดินต่อไปได้แต่ว่าหลายๆองค์กรก็อาจจะมีช่วงเวลาที่ไม่เท่ากันนะครับสมมุติว่าถ้าเป็นธุรกิจที่เป็นธุรกิจท่องเที่ยวอาจจะมีผลกระทบที่นานกว่าดังนั้นช่วง value protection มันก็อาจจะยาวกว่านะครับแต่ว่าทางคุณแมทกับคุณสตีฟก็แนะนำว่าช่วงที่ทำ value protection เรื่องจากถ้ามันเริ่ม step หมายถึงว่ามันเริ่มเสถียรขึ้นเรื่อยๆเนี่ยช่วงที่ทำ value creation ต้องเข้ามานะครับเพราะว่าเพื่อให้รู้ว่าหลังจากโควิด -19 มันจะเป็นช่วงใกล้จบแล้วเนี่ยเราต้องคิดแล้วว่าวันข้างหน้า3 ปี 5 ปีหรือว่าในช่วงแค่6 เดือนเนี่ยเราต้องทำอะไรบ้างเพื่อให้สร้าง value ให้กับองค์กรแล้วหลังจากนั้นไปเนี่ยมันก็จะไป realize ว่าในรูปของยอดขายที่เหมือนกับมั่นคงถาวรแล้วก็ไปในเชิงมี growth มากขึ้นเรื่อยๆนะครับหรือว่าเป็น profitability ที่ดีขึ้นนะครับหรือว่านอกจากนั้นบางที value creation ไม่จำเป็นว่าจะต้องพูดถึงเรื่องของการเงินอย่างเดียวอาจจะพูดในเชิงของเรื่องที่ไม่ใช่ตัวเงินเช่นความเป็นพลเมืองที่ดีนะครับเช่นเรื่องของการทำ CSR เอาใช้โอกาสนี้นะครับให้สังคมรู้ว่าบริษัทเองก็มีความเป็นห่วงใยต่อสังคมด้วยก็อาจจะมีการทำ CSR ต่างๆเอาของมาช่วยกันบริจาคให้กับหน่วยงานที่เขามีความจำเป็นอันนี้ก็สามารถสร้างแบรนด์ให้กับบริษัทได้นะคะให้คนมีในส่วนนี้เพราะฉะนั้นภาพนี้ก็จะเป็นภาพที่เราพูดคุยกันพอสมควรเลื่อนไปสุดท้ายนะครับทางคุณสตีฟกับคุณแมทก็พูดถึงเรื่องว่าถ้าเราจะต้องให้ลงลึกไปอีกนะครับว่าในมุมมองของกลยุทธ์แล้วเนี่ยเราต้องดูอะไรก็คงต้องกลับมาดูว่าปัจจุบันกลยุทธ์ที่มีอยู่มันสอดคล้องกับสิ่งที่มันกำลังจะเกิดขึ้นอีกอันข้างหน้าหรือเปล่านะครับเพื่อจะมาคล้ายๆว่ามาดูกันอีกทีแล้วเราจะปรับเปลี่ยนอย่างไรเพราะว่าแน่นอนก่อนโควิดเนี่ยเราไม่มีเคยเห็นภาพนี้มาก่อนแต่พอโควิดมาแล้วเนี่ยมีหลายๆอย่างที่เราอาจจะต้องทำให้เร็วขึ้นอย่างเช่นเรื่องของดิจิทัลสมัยก่อนเราอาจจะเคยคิดอยู่นะว่าอยากทำใช่ไหมฮะแต่ตอนนี้มันคงไม่ทำไม่ได้ละถ้าไม่ทำก็เดี๋ยวจะกลายว่าบริษัทจะไม่มีความสามารถในการแข่งขันในอนาคตอย่างนี้เป็นต้นหรือแม้กระทั่ง carve out เมื่อกี้เราพูดถึงเนาะเราพูดถึงว่า carve out เนี่ยหลายๆคนพูดแต่มุมมองว่าถ้าบริษัทมันช่วงนี้ก็เป็นช่วงที่ดีที่เราจะมาช่วยกันดูว่ามีอะไรที่มี performance ของหน่วยงานไหนหรือส่วนงานไหนที่คิดว่าเป็นโอกาสอันดีที่เราอาจจะต้องเปลี่ยนแปลงด้วยการตัดมันออกไปแต่ทั้งนี้ไม่จำเป็นว่าจะต้องตัดเฉพาะในส่วนที่ไม่ดีนะครับจะต้องมองเป็นโอกาสมากกว่ามันไปมุมมองกลยุทธ์ด้วยว่าบางหน่วยงานที่ดีแต่มันไม่ใช่ตอบโจทย์สำหรับกลยุทธ์ของบริษัทในอนาคตส่วนนี้อาจจะต้องเป็นส่วนที่ carve out ด้วยอย่างเช่นจากเดิมอาจจะมีความตั้งใจว่าจะขายของจากสมมติว่าเป็นรีเทลร้านรีเทลที่ขายให้กับลูกค้าแต่วันหนึ่งเราจะ move ตัวเองไปขายบนแพลตฟอร์มเอาเงินตรงนี้ไปได้จากการ carve out เนี่ยเขาเลยให้คำแนะนำว่ามาจากให้มองจาก investor นะครับก็คือมุมมองจากนักลงทุนว่าถ้าเราจะมองเนี่ยเรามองในแง่ของคนลงทุนเนี่ยอันไหนมันให้ผลตอบแทนในระยะยาวได้ดีกว่ากันสุดท้ายละด้านขวามือสุดก็คือมองเป็นโอกาสละถ้าบางบริษัทนะครับอยู่ในช่วงที่คิดว่าสามารถสร้างโอกาสได้กับตัวเองได้นะครับแล้วก็อาจจะมีลักษณะที่ว่ามีเงินทุนที่ดีเนี่ยอาจจะเป็นโอกาสที่ดีอาจจะได้ซื้อของพูดภาษาชาวบ้านก็คือซื้อของถูกนะครับอันนี้ก็มีคนพูดกันนะครับอันนี้ก็ถือว่าเป็นการสรุปแบบภาษาไทยแล้วกันเนาะแล้วเดี๋ยวผมเข้าส่วนที่เป็น Q&A นะครับซึ่งเรามีคำถาม I think we move to the Q&A part and maybe I can ask one of the question from the audience. They talking about the pandemic, right? And then people sometimes talking about like how we gonna integrate that digitalization together with the maybe think beyond that, like the carbon control, because you can see it right now, right? Digitalization, everyone talking about, and then the sustainability talking about like the control of the carbon emission. So how do you think that we can integrate these two parts, and how would you suggest on that? maybe Steve, you can.
I think I'll let Steve take that one.
I will leave that to Steve. I would not
This is
answer this one.
quite
That
a
sounds
high
more
level-
strategic.
Yeah, very strategic question. So I'm not sure that, as you may aware, that now the Bangkok air pollution is getting much better, and also in terms of the air is fresher, and because there's less cars, people stay at home. So and I think that digitalization and it's actually will bring positive impact actually to the in terms of for the sustainability perspective as well, because and the carbon emission as well, because it will bring basically a less activity for the real physical contact, and also actually just share you example is that also a lot of in China actually nowadays a lot of plant and a factory they are having a sort of we call it peopleless factory. So it's fully automated, and also in terms of for the carbon emission and perspective, and every measure is taken in a way which is very controllable, using a big data analysis, you know, to basically to see that what are the emission and what are the target, what are the tracking mechanisms, and beside that. So I think digitalization can go together with the you know the carbon emission reduction very well. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just to add my view on that, Kuntika, I think my observation is, you know, a lot of this technology, the need to reduce carbon emissions has been around for a long time, right? But I think everyone has experienced now that a lot of that's been forced upon us through this pandemic, whether that be the use of technology and working from home, not having as many people in factories, not traveling as much. I think it's going to be a real positive
Come out from that.
yeah, for a lot of the businesses. And I think businesses will now realize, actually, we can make this digitalization work. We can work without traveling as much. So, so yeah, I think that will be a natural outcome.
And you see, this pandemic have a lot of different impact. I mean, different level of impact on each industry. In terms of the which industries seem to hit hard, and how you're gonna advise, or in certain industry you're gonna take kind of like opportunity as well. You know, what would you suggest?
Yeah, I think maybe I'll start, Steve, and you can. So I think Steve mentioned earlier, right? There's going to be different impacts for different industries. Some of them, I think we called it a hard reset, or as a terminology. So let's take airlines, hotels. Let's be honest, it's pretty tough for those guys right now, and they're going to have to completely relook at their business models, think about what is going to be the future demand for those services, and how do they recalibrate their businesses. Then you're going to have some that maybe need to transform. So maybe retail or restaurants is a good example.
I think that especially for those running on the traditional perspective, pure offline model, and they will need to consider how the model works, and to get more closer to the customer is basically direct to customer business model. So which a lot of business owners might thinking about that.
Okay. Because I guess the airline and hotel probably take the value protection longer than other
Yeah,
other
that's
sector.
right. Yeah.
In terms of value protection, what would be your piece of advice that they're gonna keep up and running during this time?
It's really tricky, right? For the airlines and the hotels, I mean, let's be honest, you know, their income is almost probably zero right now, and they've got a massive cost base, a lot of those. So that really is a complete protection. How can we keep going? And I guess my recommendation to them would be business plans, forecasts, but stress testing. So you mentioned how long are they going to be in protection for? I think they need to be running scenarios that says, right, what if this is for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months? And what are our options? So there's not going to be one right answer necessarily. They're going to have to understand what their options might be. There'll clearly be some funding gaps if they're going to survive for that period. And they need to look at how they might fund those, yeah.
Could be the advice in terms of like booking that we talking.
Advanced booking could be quite a good option.
Yeah, that's a good one actually. So many of the booking companies, they're offering a bit more flexibility to try and encourage customers to book in advance, and that's a good way to get some of that cash through the door. And I think what I'd add to that, for those companies in the protection mode, we've talked about cash flow initiatives. So if you're really in a liquidity crisis, you need to analyze every single area you can possibly find liquidity. And that's an example that the hotels or the booking companies have come up with. And then we would categorize those. So there's some that we would call no regret. So you're going to do it anyway. There's some that are maybe amber, so they would, it's not business as usual, but it's going to be okay. And then there's some last resort actions that you're going to take. So that would be my advice.
I saw a lot right now offer online. I can book now, and then they said can cancel anytime. But I need to bet whether it's still until the time that we can travel again, and then those hotels still there. But anyway, that is a very interesting situation. People asking in terms of how we gonna, because now we know we have the value protection, we have the, creation and realization. How are we gonna set up the team? Who should be the lead in this one?
Really good question. So our advice would be it's got to be a cross-functional team. So too often with these sorts of initiatives, everything is put on finance. The CFO gets to deal with everything, but I think most organizations will understand this has to be cross-functional. You're going to need people from commercial, people from operations, people from procurement, and every business needs to decide who needs to be on that team. You need sponsorship from your shareholders, your CEO, whether they need to be involved every day. That depends on the business, and then that organization, that committee should be meeting every day, every week, depending on the stage of the business.
Just add on that every decision during this period of time need to be really quick and being flexible and adaptive. So that is to say the governance of this particular, I would say, value protection or value creation work stream that need to be really on the top and having decision power to do that. Yeah.
Maybe we are running out of time, and it's gonna be like the last question I like to ask, because we have that initiative already. How would you suggest to keep tracking and make it up and run, and we can go from here effectively?
Yeah, so if you've got those initiatives, step number one is making sure you've quantified those. They have a number, they have someone that's owning them. You have that committee, that governance structure in place. Then that needs to be reviewed every single week. What's the progress? How much, if it's cash flow, how much have we delivered this week? What do we expect to deliver next week? What are the key milestones? That needs to be tracked on a regular basis. And I think in the current climate of uncertainty, things won't necessarily go to plan. So you have to be flexible, and as you monitor those things, you may need to adjust those plans. That would be my suggestion.
Maybe we come to the conclusion now. The last words that you like to give advice to the audience. Maybe Steve, you can.
Yeah. So really, I'm quite positive actually from my perspective, not because I'm an optimistic person, but also I really think that the worst time normally creates a hero. So that is to say, if you have the right strategy, right mindset, and also flexible enough and agile enough. So basically, you can find a new way and even a better way for your business. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Matt?
So I would leave it with. So I've spoken to many businesses over the years about improving performance and creating value, but often there hasn't been an urgent need. Everything's going okay, so actually I don't need to fix this. I don't need to fix that. Now there's an urgent need, and I would recommend to the audience that you take this opportunity. All of those things that maybe you could improve, but you haven't done so before. Now's the time to improve, because it will give you a stronger position for the future.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's time. We are pretty much 1 hour for our discussion, and then I like to thank you both of you. We hope that the audience at home will benefit on this session, and thank you so much for two of you. And then อันนี้ก็จบแล้วนะครับสำหรับวันนี้ก็คือเดี๋ยวเราจะมีเซสชันหน้านะครับเดี๋ยวเราจะโพสต์ลงใน Facebook สำหรับเซสชันนี้เนี่ยเดี๋ยวเราก็จะมีการใส่ลงไปในรีรันนะครับว่าเป็นเซสชันที่เราพูดคุยกันในวันนี้เดี๋ยวชุดภาษาไทยที่จะเป็นซับไตเติลนะครับเดี๋ยวจะตามไปนะครับวันนี้ก็ขอบคุณผู้ชมทางบ้านนะครับที่ ติดตามชม Facebook Live ของ KPMG แล้วก็กับความร่วมมือของสมาคมจดทะเบียนบริษัทจดทะเบียนไทยแล้วก็แพลตฟอร์มนะครับห่วงใยไทย Business วันนี้ก็ขอบคุณทุกท่านนะครับที่ติดตามแล้วก็เดี๋ยวอาทิตย์หน้าเราเจอกันอีกนะครับขอบคุณครับสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ